Yikes! Yeah.
Let's
Another
keep it
fight.
pushing.
Another
Let's keep
fight
it pushing.
on that card. Oh wait, sorry. I think we may have clicked that button together. So Bruce Carrington versus Sulaiman Segawa from Uganda. Bruce Carrington is from Brooklyn. Great fight, actually. This one I watched a recap of it because I just like a Ugandan fighter fighting on this big stage. It was a great fight. Bruce Cunnington, Brooklyn native, won the fight. He's the guy that holds all the belts in that division. So not all the belts in that division, but let me fact check here. I know he has a couple of them. No, definitely. I think he has the IBF. Make sure I'm.
Since we talking about belts, there's one that I always forget about. This one, it's the red, white, and blue strap.
The ringside.
That's the ringside.
Yeah.
Or is that the Ring magazine?
Ring magazine.
That's which one is that? Okay, so that's the Ring magazine belt. Okay, what? Okay, so then I'm not even gonna throw this other name out there. We'll just leave that at that.
Hold on, what you got though on the belt? So many belts.
I mean, listen, I respect the 4 belt. I respect the ring is what it is. So
my man has the IBF International belt. He has the WBO Intercontinental. He's a featherweight, by the way, and then he has the NABF belt. So he has 3 of them things. He has a WBO Intercontinental. He has the IBF International, and he has the NABF belt. So I was right. Not all of the belt. He has 3 of them things. So, yeah. I don't know. So that confuses me. What's a WBO International Intercontinental compared to? It's just confusing, but.
We're the world champion. It's like WWF.
Yeah.
That's right. Come on.
He does have the straps. He does have the straps. So
what's
fighting on that stage, and
Hey, ESPN's gonna come out with the ESPN television title.
There you go.
They get the top.
That's why people like the UFC low key, because all the fighters are under one house and there's one matchmaker. No one is ducking nothing because of promoter beef or all that extra stuff, the different belts and all that. No, one belt, you're the baddest person in this division. One belt. That's it. And if you want to get extra belts, go to a different division. Step up. Go to heavyweight.
Hey, hopefully we'll see a merging of those ideals because of one
bad man in one division. And if you want to be belt holder,
here's the perfect scenario, in my opinion. If somebody, let's say a unified champion retires, and then let's just say Usyk unifies in 2025 and then decides to retire, and then now you have the next 4 top contenders. Maybe Dubois as the number 1 contender that he just defeated, and then these belts, all 4 fall to 4 different champions. And then there's just a super, what is it? That tournament again.
Like Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah. I'm that's what it is. I think that's what, if you're going to have that type of structure, I feel like that's what it should be, instead of a guy holding a belt and then refusing to fight the other champions in the name of whatever.
What if the organizations were structured more like conferences, and then it becomes the college football playoff?
Right. I fight. Gotta be belt. You fight. Boom. And we run that play over and over again. That's just I love that as a fan of the sport, because that makes that solidifies that the fights that we want to see will be made.
Right. How about to keep everybody active? I know this is horrible, by the way, that we are doing this, because we're not looking out for fighters' safety and health wise and how many fights you can take a year. But what if we had, let's pretend this world had fighters that just were robots, right? You had like a league for fighters where you get like 3 points every win, you get a 0 if you lose, you get a draw, whatever, you get a 1. So you have like a league table, and then whoever is consistent throughout the fight year gets the big fight or goes into like the playoffs.
We gotta look at whatever ESPN is doing, because
that would be hilarious.
They're tinkering with that in the MMA world with the what is it, the PFL?
Yeah, PFL, yeah.
So we might need to pay attention to that.
PFL's coming up.
That's too many fights,
Team Combat League. That's also another thing to be looking out for. Team Combat League will be going into their 3rd season coming up. So American Fight League, you get Dallas. I think it's a Miami team, Boston, New York. They add in Phoenix, and there's an LA team, and there's pretty much 15, 18 boxers, different weight classes. They have this team, they fight this team.
But check it out
at the end. That's a good way for exposure, getting guys paid, and keeping guys busy, because it's one round fight.
Historically, the best ideas do make their way to the top, because when you look at 3-point line in the ABA, and then the merger, the ABA-NBA merger, and then the 3-point line was adopted, and we don't know, today's kids don't know an era where it didn't exist. Let's just go to the most recent, the NFL kickoff rules.
Yeah,
I believe it was started in the exactly. You see what I'm saying? So, but there's a precedent of some of these lower leagues setting the standard and then say, hey, you know what? That's actually a good idea. So,
yeah. Yoink. Go ahead and add that.
You definitely need to switch up and keep up with the times and people's interest levels. And also just saying that I just randomly went back to see fighters' activities back in the day, right? And then my study was Tyson, right? If you go back and see his activity from 88 leading up to when he got arrested around, I think 90 or
it was
89.
about every 3 months.
1 year he had a ridiculous amount of fights. I don't want to get the exact number, but it was almost a double-digit number. And I'm like, what's the preparation to get it? Like,
well, when you in the fights as fast as he was in the fights, you got to do something to get the rounds.
But still, the preparation.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to prepare for all 12. Or even back then in the 80s. When did we go? But when did the boxing standardize 12 rounds? Was it in the 80s? Right? It was more than 12.
Well, yeah,
we about when they got away from 15.
Yeah,
they got away from 15.
So if your body's going, if you're in training camp, and back then, if you're going to fight a 12 rounder, you're doing at least 24 rounds of training. 20. How many rounds they do? Like when you're like Tyson said, he did 32 something, and he actually would say what young Tyson would say. I'm collectively counting all the rounds of all my training camp. So he's not saying today I've done like 32. He's gonna say some ridiculous triple figure number. Like I've been from day one. I've been every day from day one of practice of like sparring to like where you taper off. He's counting all those that mileage on his body because he knows you have to record that. So there's optimum rest and recovery, and also knowing how much you, like we said in an earlier episode, you could overtrain and exhaust yourself and not be ready on fight day. So
that might have been our very first episode.
Yeah,
we talked about that.
I think that's why fighter activity nowadays is limited to like 3 fights a year, if you're that type of fighter. Like, but in the 80s, look how active those
sanctioning bodies. Yeah, a lot of the sanctioning bodies impose like a suspension. I mean, they won't allow you to fight within a certain time.
Yeah. Anyway, Anthony Joshua just got the standard 28-day suspension for his knockout loss.
Yeah, sometimes it can be 45 days for a knockout, 30 days. So, but a quick tidbit about the 15-round fights. Actually, the last 15-round heavyweight title fight was between Mike Tyson and Tyrell Biggs on October 16th of 1987. Now, the last 15, This was interesting. This was a little earlier. The last 15-round middleweight title fight was between Jose Alfredo Flores and Eric Holland on June 7th of 1997.
Oh,
so we had a 15-round fight as of 19.
Wow.
7, which I assumed like you STRAP that these fights ended in the 80s.
Hey,
so we had a 15-round fight as early as 1997.
Wow.
Imagine Gotti Ward going 15 rounds.
So to get ready for 15 rounds, how many rounds you in practice? That's crazy. That's crazy, especially for me when I hit the bag 3 minutes for just 4 rounds. I'm like dead. Like my on my 4th round, I'm barely tapping the bag. I have a bag here, and I'm doing like 3 rounds, 3-minute rounds, and I'm by the 4th round, I'm like, dog, I have no power in my hands. I have nothing. They're done. My shoulder hurts. My wrist starts to hurt, and I'm like, yo, how are these guys getting ready for 15? Even 12 is like, wow, you ready? You in shape for 12? People that have never boxed don't know that feeling of, and I've never been. I've sparred before, but I've never been like in the ring with the lights and the pressure, people talking, instructions get left and right. But just even sparring, right? It's not that the guy hits hard. It's I'm tired and I can't keep my hands from going down. So I'm getting tagged. Like I'm tired and I know I look sloppy. I know I don't look good, but it's hard as hell. It's hard as hell. Just 3 rounds, just 3 good rounds.
Hey, y'all, STRAP is heavy-handed too, so don't let the glasses fool you.
That's just like the first round, the first 1 minute, 2 minutes. After that, your heart rate is up. Depending on the person, I was fighting a person who knows how to fight, so they were just making me move. They were doing it intentionally, just keeping me active. And by the time we hit the 3rd more, I was like, "Yo, you got it, bro. I'm good." I was like, "Yeah,
right.
It's not a sprint; it's a marathon. If you're working with me, like you gotta get in shape. You gotta be in shape." But hey, salute to the fighters in the past.